Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and tell us what theory you're betting on, because once you hear this case, you'll realize nothing in this story is what it seems. The night the cameras went dark was supposed to be quiet. It was a slow Tuesday in the town of Ridgewater, a place where streetlights hummed louder than the traffic. But at exactly 11:47 p.m., every security camera on Hollister Avenue, 8 of them, all recently upgraded, shut off at the same moment. No glitch, no storm, no power surge. Just darkness. And 3 minutes later, a call came into 911 from a panicked jogger who claimed he had found something behind the old freight station. By the time Ridgewater police arrived, the scene felt wrong. Too still. Too staged. Officer Dana Kincaid, known for her sharp instincts and even sharper temper, approached the abandoned loading dock with her flashlight raised. The jogger kept pointing to the shadows beneath the metal staircase, insisting he saw someone lying there. But when Kincaid swept her light across the ground, she didn't find a person, only a single leather wallet, placed deliberately in the center of the concrete as if waiting to be discovered. The wallet belonged to Noah Fletcher, a well-liked school counselor who had no recorded enemies, no criminal history, and no reason to be anywhere near a freight station in the middle of the night. But he also hadn't come home. His wife, Emily, had reported him missing 2 hours earlier. Detective Marcus Hale arrived moments later, already bracing for a long night. Marcus had seen enough cases to know that coincidences weren't real in Ridgewater. The synchronized camera blackout, the missing man, the wallet left like a breadcrumb, it all smelled like a setup. But who was orchestrating it? Inside the freight building, dust thickened the air, and every footstep echoed like a warning. Metal racks leaned crookedly, old crates sat cracked and forgotten, and a thin draft pushed cold air through broken windows. Marcus noticed faint shoe marks near the back exit, fresh, lightly dragging, leading outside toward the riverbank. The tracks stopped abruptly next to the water. Noah might have been taken, or he might have run. But something else caught Kincaid's eye. A torn piece of blue fabric tangled on a nail near the emergency exit door. Soft, expensive material. The kind Noah was known for wearing. They bagged it, but both investigators sensed they were already steps behind whoever orchestrated this. The next morning, detectives pulled the footage from earlier in the evening hours before the cameras went down. They expected to see Noah walking, driving, or even being followed. Instead, they found something far stranger. At 6:13 p.m., a man wearing a hooded jacket walked past the main camera 3 times within 10 minutes. His pace changed each time. First slow. Then fast. Then almost a sprint. But the most chilling part wasn't what he did. It was what he looked at. Each time he passed, he stared directly into the camera lens, as if he knew exactly when it would all go black. But the true shock came when analysts enhanced the image and zoomed into the man's hand. He wasn't carrying a weapon or a bag. He was holding Noah Fletcher's house keys. And behind him, barely visible in the reflection of a storefront window, was Noah himself, eyes wide, mouth covered, being forced into a dark sedan. This meant only one thing. Noah wasn't missing. He had been taken. And the kidnappers had planned every second of it. But when investigators opened the trunk of Noah's abandoned car later that afternoon, what they found changed everything. The trunk of Noah Fletcher's car shouldn't have held anything unusual. But when Detective Marcus Hale lifted it open, his breath hitched. Inside, neatly arranged as if placed with intention, were 3 objects: a burner phone with no SM card, a folded city bus schedule, and a photograph of Noah standing beside a man no one recognized. The stranger's face was scratched out with a single, clean line, precise, deliberate, controlled. Whatever this was, it wasn't random. Someone wanted the police to see this. The photograph immediately raised questions. Emily Fletcher insisted she had never seen the stranger before. But what unsettled her more was Noah's expression. He wasn't smiling. He looked tense, almost cornered, like he knew the camera was watching him and couldn't find a way out. Detectives checked the metadata. The photo had been taken only 2 days earlier. The investigation shifted into a race against time. Marcus and Kincaid began interviewing Noah's co-workers at Ridgewater High. His colleagues described him as calm, patient, and deeply devoted to helping troubled students. But one name kept coming up: Caleb Mercer, a former student Noah had mentored. Caleb had vanished shortly after graduation, and several teachers whispered that Noah had been the last person to see him. Marcus pulled Caleb's file, but what he found raised more questions. Caleb had no record, no reported problems, and no family in Ridgewater. A quiet kid. A smart kid. The kind who never made noise. But there was one odd note in his file: meeting scheduled privately with N. Fletcher. Student requested confidentiality. Requested by Caleb himself, 2 months before he disappeared. As the team dug deeper, the burner phone from Noah's trunk finally powered on after forensic recharging. It contained only one saved video clip, timestamped 6 days ago. Marcus tapped play. The footage showed Noah pacing in what looked like an empty parking garage. He kept glancing over his shoulder, breathing heavily, whispering something too low for the microphone to catch. His body language was rigid, uneasy. At the end of the clip, he stepped closer to the camera and said one sentence, clear, sharp, and chilling. "Tell them I didn't have a choice." Then the video cut out. Back at the station, analysts matched the bus schedule found in Noah's trunk to the route that ran closest to the abandoned freight station. Noah could have been forced onto that route, or he could have been signaling something. Every investigator in the room felt the same crawling suspicion. They weren't chasing a kidnapper. They were following instructions. That night, as rain hammered against the police station windows, Marcus received an anonymous message from an untraceable number. "Stop searching for Noah. Start searching for Caleb. No threats. No demands. Just a directive." Kincaid stared at the message, jaw tight. Who even knows Caleb is connected to this? Marcus didn't answer. Instead, he replayed the silent video of Noah one more time, watching Noah's eyes, the fear behind them, the urgency, the plea for someone to understand what he couldn't say aloud. Noah wasn't running from his captors. He was running from himself. As the detectives left the station to follow the new lead, Kincaid received an update from forensics that froze her mid-step. "Marcus, you need to hear this." "What now?" "The fabric we found at the freight building. It didn't match Noah's clothes." "Okay. So whose was it?" A long pause. "It belonged to Caleb Mercer." Marcus felt the air leave his lungs. Caleb wasn't missing. Caleb had been there. Recently. And as the detectives raced toward the last known address tied to Caleb, a cold realization settled over them. Caleb wasn't just connected to the case. He was controlling it. But when they broke into Caleb's abandoned apartment, the message waiting on the wall sent a shock through the entire department. It said, "You're looking at the wrong victim." The spray-painted message on Caleb Mercer's apartment wall, "You're looking at the wrong victim," hung in the stale air like a warning written to the future. The room was stripped bare. No furniture. No clothes. Not even a toothbrush. Only one thing remained, a small flash drive taped behind the door, marked with a blue dot. Marcus plugged it into his tablet. A single audio file began to play. At first, only static. Then a familiar voice broke through. "Noah Fletcher. If you're hearing this," Noah said, breathing hard, "it means I couldn't stop him. Caleb, he's not who you think he is. This isn't about me. It never was. He's been watching all of us since last year, tracking, recording, testing boundaries. I thought I could help him. I thought I could pull him back. I was wrong." The voice cut out sharply, replaced by another, a younger one. Calm. Cold. Controlled. "Caleb. You had your chance, Noah. Now it's my turn." The recording ended. Kincaid stared at Marcus. Why would Caleb target Noah? Or the cameras? What's his endgame? Marcus didn't know. But he did know one thing: Caleb had planned every step. And they were only now catching up. Detectives traced Caleb's last known purchase, a storage unit on the far edge of town. By the time they arrived, the sun had dipped low, turning the sky a deep, unsettling blue. The unit door was slightly open, a thin line of darkness waiting for them. Inside, they found an entire investigation wall, photos, timelines, symbols, and printed maps. In the center was a single headline from 10 months earlier. High school student disappears after private meeting with counselor. Caleb's own disappearance. He hadn't vanished. He had gone underground. And he had spent nearly a year studying Noah Fletcher, every movement, every client meeting, every call. Marcus scanned the notes pinned to the board. Caleb's handwriting was precise, almost obsessive. He knew about what they were doing. He tried to expose it. He lied. He chose them. Marcus froze. There were more names. Other staff from the school. A pattern of students meeting with the same group of counselors, only to leave the program shortly after, never returning. Something was wrong. Something bigger than Caleb. And Noah had been caught in the middle. Kincaid found a second board behind a top, this one dedicated entirely to Noah. But instead of accusations, it listed warnings. Tried to protect me. Didn't give them my file. Paid for it. I warned him they'd come. Marcus's pulse kicked. Caleb wasn't hunting Noah, he whispered. He was trying to save him. Before Kincaid could answer, Marcus's phone buzzed. Unknown number. A text message. You're too late. They rushed outside just in time to hear the distant echo of sirens coming from downtown. Dispatch confirmed it. Noah Fletcher had been found alive but unconscious, left on the steps of the courthouse with no memory of the past week. But Caleb Mercer was gone. No prints. No footage. No trace. Just one last message left in the storage unit, taped to the wall where the boards had hung. The cameras went dark because the truth had to come out. If you want answers, follow the ones who tried to hide me. 3 days later, Ridgewater High quietly suspended 2 staff members connected to the same counseling program that handled Caleb's records. And 1 month after that, as the town began to move on, a new security camera was installed outside the school. On its very first night, it went dark. For exactly 3 minutes. Just long enough for a shadow to pass beneath it, hooded, calm, and familiar. Caleb Mercer. He paused, looked directly into the lens, and left a note taped to the pole.